Hello there.
Hello there, and welcome to Star Wars News, and this is the Bad Batch Episode 11 Breakdown. Now make sure you stay till the end of the video to hear my predictions for the series and future installments.
Red 6 standing by.
Red 9 standing by.
Red 2 standing by.
Red 11 standing by.
Red 5 standing by.
The episode's title is Devil Deals, and in traditional terms, a deal with the devil is when an individual makes a pact with Satan or a lesser demon and exchanges their soul for favors. And in the case of Ryloth, they are settling for imperial occupation for the cause of peace, not realizing that the Empire will enslave their people in the future. The episode opens on Ryloth, where the citizens of the planet are upset that the clone occupation still exists after the Separatist threat is gone. Admiral Rampart confronts Senator Ta after seeing the protests and conveys his displeasure. Senator Orn Free Taa first appeared in The Phantom Menace and can be seen when the vote for no confidence of Chancellor Valorum takes place. During the Clone Wars, Cham Syndulla and him become rivals, having differing opinions on how to handle the Separatist occupation. And shortly after, we meet Hera's mother, who answers questions in a diplomatic way. Next we meet Cham Syndulla, who wants nothing more than peace for his people. And this is a more optimistic Cham than we see later in Star Wars Rebels. And the reason for extremism is that something is probably going to happen to his wife in the future. And finally we meet Clone Captain Hauser, who appears to not be affected by Order 66. He acts less programmed and still maintains the coloring of his Phase 2 clone armor, which appears to be a faded cyan color, which is the color for the 31st Legion, a company of clone troopers that appeared in the Star Wars Galactic Battlegrounds game. Cham preaches peace and the people of Ryloth cheer him on, and Admiral Rampart notices Hera's absence. Which takes us to meet tween Hera and Chopper, who probably has been repaired recently after crashing in the Y-Wing that we see in the capital city of Ryloth. Now Hera Syndulla would go on to lead Phoenix Cell and pilot the Ghost, a Corellian VCX-100 light freighter, and would later be joined by Kanan Jarrus and would go on to become a general in the Rebel Alliance. And Chopper is a C-1 series astromech droid who is like a cranky and mischievous version of R2-D2 because of his lack of memory wipes. We see the two of them are scouting intel for Gobi's rebel cell on the Empire's new Dunium mine. Now Dunium was used for starship construction, and a large chunk of it was used for the Death Star. So perhaps we will see some Star Destroyers soon, and maybe even get a Victory class Star Destroyer. Lady Syndulla and Gobi discuss the clone occupation, and we learn that the people of Ryloth turned over their weapons to the Empire. Captain Hauser escorts Hera to the General and lets the General know that he won't report her for trespassing. Back in Admiral Rampart's office, we see that Crosshair now has a large chunk of his head melted, right behind where the inhibitor chip is after his last skirmish with the Bad Batch. Crosshair mentions that Gobi Glee is the biggest threat to the Empire. Now Gobi is Cham's lieutenant and fought with him in the Clone Wars, and was at the battle where Ima Gundy sacrificed himself and his troops so that the Twi'leks could escape.
Yes, sir.
For the Republic! For the Twi'leks!
Later Gobi would assist Cham and Phoenix Squadron in capturing a Quasar Fire class cruiser instead of blowing it up, which was originally intended by the Twi'leks. Admiral Rampart shows the Syndullas around the Dunium mine, and we get a glimpse of an Imperial turbo laser. Gobi later goes on a supply run in a ship named the Phantom Cruiser, which is a Rain-Hawk class transport, and he bribes Hera into coming along by letting her fly. When the ship is departing, Crosshair fires a tracker on the ship, just like when Obi-Wan tagged Jango Slave One in Attack of the Clones. The Twi'lek rebels meet the Bad Batch on one of Ryloth moons to make the trade, when Hera and Omega befriend each other, and I'm wondering if we could possibly see this friendship in future projects. Upon their return, Crosshair shoots out the engine of the Phantom Cruiser, forcing them to crash land, and then Imperial forces move in using a Juggernaut and a LAAT to capture the smugglers. And we see Captain Hauser plead with Admiral Rampart to let Hera go. Rampart uses Hera's involvement to try to get Cham to commit a crime, and he does this by accusing the three of treason without trial. This then causes the Syndullas to rally their forces and intercept the convoy. Using dewbacks in the high ground, Cham and his rebels ambush the Imperial forces. We see a Twi'lek use a spike to disrupt communication on the Juggernaut, and all the Imperial forces are wiped out. Admiral Rampart then manipulates the situation by ordering his forces to surrender, and we see Cham and Senator Ta have a standoff, and Crosshair fires a shot to frame Cham for attempted assassination after the insurgents are captured. And if you look closely at Free Taa, his hands are still moving as two troopers use a hover pad to push him away. And finally at the end of the episode, Rampart orders Hauser to locate the Syndulla girl. Now I thought this episode was great and I enjoyed seeing Hera's origin stories, and I hadn't realized how much I missed Chopper. Also, I've been wanting more Imperial growth, and we got a taste of that this episode. I believe in the near future we will see the Empire enslave the people of Ryloth, and I'm hoping that the introduction of Dunium mines being on the planet will fast track us seeing the Victory class or Imperial class Star Destroyer by the end of the season. Now next week's episode will be a continuation of the Ryloth story. story, and we could see Hera's mom making the ultimate sacrifice to save her daughter, which would explain the rift between Hera and her father later in Rebels, and what drives Cham to extremism. Now if you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, and if you enjoy content from a lifelong Star Wars fan, make sure you subscribe to my channel. You can always change your mind later. May the Force be with you.